Hey everybody, my name is Elizabeth and welcome back to my channel. Today I am at Young's Jersey Dairy to see if their fall activities are fun for an adult. This was recommended to me last year and I was like, no, that's all like family and kids stuff. And then this year I was looking at their website and I thought, you know what, I actually might have fun with some of those activities. So let's go around. We're gonna pick a pumpkin, we're gonna go on a hayride and hear some scary stories and see if this is any fun for adults. So one thing to know about Young's Jersey Dairy is that they're a dairy farm, and so they do everything dairy very well. So I'm gonna get some ice cream later, but before I go out and do any of the activities, I needed a snack, and this is my favorite snack of all time. They make their own fried cheese curds, and they are absolutely incredible. And so I'm gonna eat these, and then I'm gonna go out and pick up a pumpkin. Okay. Cheese curds have been eaten. I'm now going to pick my own pumpkin. Now, my initial reason to pick my own pumpkin is because I love to bake, but I've never used anything but canned pumpkin. But I was like, feeling adventurous, I'm like, I want to do my own pumpkin. So I was like, perfect, I'll pick a pumpkin and use it to bake. And then I found out that really you need to use specific types of pumpkin if you want to get the best results. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this pumpkin, but I'm gonna pick it. The ride is here. Okay, after a short but very bumpy wagon ride, I am here at the pumpkin patch. And they gave me some stuff to make it easier. Let me show you. So I have a wagon and some clippers just in case the pumpkin I like is still attached to the vine. And here is the part of the pumpkin patch that I'm in. And looks like there's a lot of options here. Let's see what we can find. Alright. It would not be good if I tripped and re-broke my leg, so I gotta be careful of all these vines. You know, there's nothing saying that I can't cook the pumpkin that I get and just see what it tastes like. Because not all of them are big. Like, look at this little one. Why couldn't I cook that one? There's a little one back there. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll get a smaller one and cook it and see what it tastes like. Let's see. I guess I could get a funny shaped one. That one has like a dent in it. There are a couple around that I've seen that are smashed. So many options. I wonder if they do a sweep of the pumpkin patch before they close to make sure nobody's lost out here. Is there people all the way over there? Okay, I decided to go with this relatively small one, and I'm gonna try to cook it and just see what happens, because if it turns out stringy, I can always go to the store or a farmer's market or whatever and find some actual pumpkin pie pumpkins, or sweet pie pumpkins, I think is what they're called, and use those instead. But for now, I want to try this little one. Okay, quick update. They had sugar pumpkins, so it was 3 for $10, so I got those 3. So the big one that I got out in the pumpkin patch, big being a relative term, I'll probably use for a decoration, and the other 3 I'll bake with. Okay, so the haunted stuff does not start for another half an hour or so, because they have to wait till it gets dark. So we're gonna walk around and see what else there is. This is definitely new since last time I was here, which it's been years to be fair, but they have a carousel. Okay, they do have some batting cages over there. Not really my thing, but people come and practice batting by themselves, right? I think there's some like family games under there. And they have a driving range. They also have mini golf. I think they have 2 courses. I was actually seriously considering doing it. But really, I just don't have time to make it through a whole course before the next stuff starts, and by the time it'll be dark. So, but it is something I've been considering. Like, would mini golf be fun by myself, or is that something I should save for friends and family? So, let me know what you think. Mini golf, fun by yourself, yes or no? Okay, there's been a slight change of plans, simply because after those cheese curds, I am not hungry. So I'm not getting ice cream here, except I kind of am. So when I bought my tickets for all the events, she told me that she kind of showed me that if I got one of these wristbands, it would be cheaper because I could use the wristbands for the pumpkins and for the haunted hayride stuff. And I had 2 left over, and I could use that to get some ice cream to take home. Like, they sell their ice cream in gallons or half gallons. And so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take some ice cream home with me, and that way I still get to try their ice cream because it's delicious, but I'm not gonna make myself sick by having cheese curds and an ice cream cone in one night, because that is quite a possibility if I try to force some ice cream in. Anyway, the sun is kind of going down, but I've still got a while before the haunted stuff starts, so I will see you guys in a bit for that. So I'm curious to see what this will be like, because the website said it's for families, but then also said, but it's scary. And so I'm like, which is it? So my guess is it's going to lean more towards it's for families and less towards it's scary, but we'll see.
It is kind of scary.
We're going to have problems here.
We got a graveyard there. We got some demons. Some really neat things.
We're stuck out here now.
It's okay.
Look, we got lights.
Oh no!
He
said no way.
He wants to eat your brain.
Give him a high five.
He's not gonna do a high five. He's gonna eat your face. There's no high fives on this one. He's gonna eat your face. See, George,
You see that one?
face.
Well, I'm back from Young's Dairy. I apologize. They asked us to turn off our phones for the storytelling part, so I was not able to record any of that. I just got like a really brief clip of the inside of the barn, like the decorations and stuff. But because they turned off all the lights except for like one on stage with the storyteller, I didn't, obviously a cell phone is going to ruin that effect. So I didn't even try to like film or anything like that. And I did try to film a little bit on the hayride, but it was so dark. I, at this moment, don't know if any of my footage came out. So if any of it did come out, I will have put that in. You will have seen it. But I'm not at this moment confident that it's going to be worth anything, or if it's just going to be like a dark screen. So let me tell you a little bit about what I experienced with those 2 things. So with the storytelling, she told 2 stories. Neither of them were very scary, but they weren't super kiddie either. The first one kind of was a little more funny, like it was a ghost story, but then the end was kind of a punchline, kind of something that you might see like in one of those old kids books, like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or one of those kinds of things. Not one of the scary ones, but one of the ones that kind of ends on a joke. But the little kid that was sitting in front of me was getting nervous during that story. He was, like, Mom, I don't, I'm scared. And, but he was fine. And then the second story was sort of like one of those, like, the babysitter is home by herself and there's someone in the house with her, like one of those things. And it ended up, like, she was telling it as though it had actually happened to her when she was 13. And then the end of the story was that it was her friend playing a joke on her on Halloween. So again, didn't really end up being scary, except that they had timed something, someone on the outside of the barn. We were in like a metal barn, sitting on like hay bales, and they had timed it so at a certain point in the story when like the person in the house was supposed to like knock on the bedroom door where she was hiding, someone outside banged really loud on the metal side of the barn, and all of us jumped, of course, because it's startling, but some of the kids freaked out, like had to be taken out of the barn. They were so upset. So I felt a little bad for them, but the stories themselves were not scary, but they weren't like, kiddie either. They were, and she didn't like, she just told the story. It wasn't like she was, like talking just to kids or something like that. Now, the hayride, it was actually more effective than I expected it to be, considering, I mentioned before that I went in that the website said, like, it's made for families, but it's scary. And I thought, what does that mean? So basically, it was a hayride through the forest. It was pretty dark, and there were people, like a lot of people hidden along the path in masks that would jump out, and they climbed into the wagon with us. Or at least, and sometimes they would just like get up and kind of like lean over into us, and then other times they actually like climbed into the wagon with us. And it was more effective than I expected it to be. Like, not really scary. Sometimes it was startling when someone would jump out. But it was, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like all like very kiddie and jokey. Like, if you remember, if you have been following my channel for a while, last year I went and did the Waynesville Fall Fest, and they had a hayride, and that was very kid-like, like, oh, look at those fake aliens in the trees over there, and oh, there's Bigfoot, and there was nothing scary about it. And this was, while not scary, at least atmospheric and effective, like for what it was trying to do. So I will give them credit for that, because it was not just a kid thing, it was at least fun and not just filled with like child's toys, Now, I did use the last 2 credits on that wristband that I had to get ice cream. I'm not going to eat a lot of it today because I ate a lot of cheese curds, but I did like put like one spoonful of each kind in a bowl that I just want to taste really quick. So I can give you a review of their ice cream. So let's go look at that. Okay, so these are the kinds I got. I got Apple Orchard cheesecake. This is a seasonal flavor. And this is their most classic and most famous flavor. It's called Cow Patty, which I know doesn't sound very appetizing, but it's chocolate with a lot of stuff in it. All right. I wish it had a description on it so I knew exactly what was in here, because I only scraped a little bit off the top. But I think it has like nuts and pieces of chocolate and some coconut. It's really good. And like I said, they make their own ice cream because they are a dairy farm. So they have all their own milk and stuff like that. So it is super creamy and super delicious. Now for the apple cheesecake one. That's really good too. A lot of apple in there. That's really good. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't get a whole ice cream cone just because I'm really full, but I'm glad I tasted them before I put them in the freezer. So what's my final verdict on Young's Dairy and their fall activities? It was fun. It was fun, but it's probably not something I'll go back and do again by myself. You guys know that will always try something once, and I'm happy to do it. but it's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm going to go back next year because that was great. You know, it's something I'm like, I tried it once. I know what it's like. And now I can give recommendations to other people. But for me, like, while the pumpkin picking was interesting, I didn't necessarily gain a whole lot more out of picking a pumpkin from the patch than, you know, getting one of the ones from the grocery store or something like that, you know. The one thing I would say is that getting like the little pumpkin pie pumpkins from them, I just, in my head, because I'm getting it right from the farm, you know, I feel like it's probably gonna be a better quality. But the big one I picked just, you know, for decoration, yeah, I could have gotten that at Kroger or something like that. And yeah, the stories and the hayride, not something that I would necessarily come back and do again myself for me. But great for kids and great for families. That's just, you know, not the stage of life I'm in, and that's not the stage of life that I represent here in my vlog. So if you're looking for something to do as a single adult, maybe, you know, I showed you what there was. If you're looking for a driving range or, you know, some batting cages and also want somewhere where you can get, you know, fried cheese curds and ice cream and stuff like that, then Young's Dairy is a great place. But other than that, you could probably find some better fall stuff to do that's more interesting for an adult. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like and a subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Lead the Life Vlog, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.